Bracket racing isn't just what we do, it's who we are. It's how we identify ourselves.
What does bracket racing mean to me? It's my life. It's where my people are. My idols, my family, my friends.
Bracket racing is life. Bracket life.
Hello and welcome back to the BracketLife Broadcast. Brandon here as always, hanging out with you guys, talking about some Canadian drag racing. My good friend, Andrew Sturck. Friend, pal, whatever else.
Co-crew chief.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Here to join us.
How's it going tonight? Good?
Excellent.
There we go.
Oh, Jesus, we got that. What's the wrong one? Let's just go back to this. Simple, easy. We got different names and everything like that, but we're all good. Yeah, Andrew, how's it going?
I can't complain, but feeling good. Got a week of racecation. Just got back from that, so it was a little bit of racing, a little bit of vacation, and a little bit of racing to end it all off. And it worked out well. Only went to a theme park that had lightning strike, had 2 rides go down, was flooded, and we suffered through none of it. So I think I used up all my luck there, but
Excellent.
fun times.
Excellent. There you go. So yeah, as you know, maybe not everybody knows, Andrew spent a week in the States. It went to Cedar Point, excellent spot.
Absolutely, highly recommend it. Yeah.
Absolutely,
went through the most eventful week apparently of their summer, so that was.
Yeah. Well, that happens sometimes, right? Andrew's got to bring the fun. That's how it goes. Well, more into that in Andrew's trip to the south in a little bit here. Before we do officially kick off the show, we want to start by thanking our sponsor, the Canadian Bracket Super Tour. If you're tuning in live, be sure to comment. Oh, sorry, I'm missing a spot. Bracket Super Tour. We just missed it. Had the Bracket Bonanza. Huge weekend, right? Huge weekend for the tour. I believe there's over 80 Super Pro cars, 75 plus semi-pro cars there, 25 juniors, give or take. Awesome weekend. Great.
That's a great job.
The place was packed at Lusville. Everything went very smoothly. Very few hiccups for an event that size. Everybody started racing Thursday through to Sunday. All good. We'll talk same thing, more about that later on. But Bracket Super Tour, the next race coming up September long weekend for the Fall Bracket Nationals. And then the end of September. I'm not sure the date. I think it's the 20...
5th or 6th, something like that, September.
Of September for the Canadian Bracket Finals at Naperville Dragway.
Yes.
So that'll be excellent. 2 more big weekends there. Should be awesome. Some great racing left. Tight points battles, as always with that. So should be good. I'm excited to see the points after the Bracket Bonanza with so many races going on. And
yeah, big moves can happen on 3 days like that, right?
yes, absolutely. And then there still is the extra race, the drop day, I guess, if you will, for that. You can still improve on. So I believe there's 11 races and your best 10 count for the points. So it'll be exciting. I'm excited to see all the numbers as they do come out. And yeah, we'll talk the results after that. If you are tuning in live, be sure to comment. Let us know where you're tuning in from, that you are hanging out. Questions, things like that. Anything you got to say. Fire it up there. We love talking about it. We love interacting with everybody that's hanging out here with us, right? We're just talking racing. So no problem with that.
Not at all.
So do that. Let's jump into the Canadian countdown, Andrew. We only got a couple. There's a lot of racing going on. We know that, but we have a big show, big guest coming on here in a few minutes. So we want to get through to that, to the main part of tonight. So we'll hit the National Open Miramichi, Bracket Bonanza, and then talk about some extracurricular racing that Andrew's been doing. So we'll start with that. NHRA National Open Miramichi, July 24th to 27th. Race number 1. Friday was rained out. I think they got maybe 1 round in, and then got started and then got rained. So they did 2 races on Saturday. Race number 1, Stock Super Stock. Mike Ingram taking the win over Jeremy Keynes. Super Comp, Trevor Cowie over Brett Ramsey. Super Gas was Benny Neaston over James Cowie. Super Street, John Rankin over Jean-Yves Gagnon. Top Sportsman, Top Dragster, Chris Hobart over Dave Powell. Cool deal with Chris. Chris had crashed his car last year, his dragster. I believe the brakes failed, went off the end of the track in Miramichi. Bought a new car, whole family deal coming together. A lot of work going into this thing. Gets it back out, takes the big Top Sportsman, Top Dragster combo race win in that new to him dragster. So really cool deal for those guys to go out and get it done. Bike sled, Mike O'Neill with the win over Shane Bolger. Junior dragster was Madeline Justison over Lily Arsenault. So some great racing, some names that we've seen, obviously heard a lot of. Mike Ingram. We'll take a look at the points here, the National Open stuff later on. Mike Ingram dominating, once again, so really good for him. Brett Ramsey up there, Benny Neaston. Big John Rankin. It was cool to see him get the Super Street win. Race number 2, Saturday afternoon, Stock Super Stock, Bruce Riley over Fred Tebow. Jim Morrison got the win over Brett Ramsey, who was the runner-up in both races. Super Gas was Jim Morrison over Noel Peach. Paul Weir took the win over Tyson Cowie in Super Street. Wyatt Rankin over Sebastian Levesque in the Top Sportsman, Top Dragster. Gordon Ferguson over Mike O'Neill in Bike Sled. And Bryson McNeil with the win in Junior Dragster over Carter McLean. So cool deal for those guys. A lot of awesome racing. I don't have the points up here right at the moment, but a lot of guys made some big moves. Still a bunch of races going on for the National Open Series. We will be back there, not this weekend, next weekend.
Yeah, Naperville
back to
next
Naperville.
weekend, and then I believe it's the same weekend as the Super Tour for the National Open at Cayuga. Might be the weekend before, but it's September for the final one. Might be the actual weekend
I think
before. No, it's not
weekend.
Labor Day. They changed it off of the Labor Day, so it's mid-September now. So there's at least 4 more point-earning events heading as I head back to, I guess, West. God, it's weird to call us the West, but yeah.
Because I don't think they've done their second. Have they done 2 down east yet?
I gotta check that one.
They still have one. There still is one more race, I believe. If anybody is watching, I'm sure I'll get a message here soon. But I believe there's one more down east, one more in Naperville, one more in Cayuga.
I know of at least the Naperville and Cayuga one, so
for sure
they should be good.
Yeah, a lot of great racing, a lot of good stuff. Stock Super Stock's going to be really tight. I'm looking at the points right now. Ryan Bonifero, Fred Tebow, and Mike Ingram all within 18 points of each other. And then, top 10 within, I guess top 7 within 50 points.
Being a claim series, 60. I think it's 6 out of 10 or something like that. So you got quite a few drops where you can make a big move. You can get some of those low point days off the board.
Yep, absolutely. So no, it should be good. It's exciting to watch, exciting to be a part of, obviously, and then it makes a difference for me when I'm doing all this stuff and talking about it. So great race down there for the National Open stuff. Brack Bonanza, we just finished that, as I said earlier. Great weekend, right? The whole thing was awesome. They started racing Thursday. I don't have the first stuff up here. I have Saturday, Sunday's winners. Thursday, the Big Dog Shootout. 2 seconds. Jamie Claremont, that's who it was. Yes, it was Jamie. Jamie over Felix Valaby takes the win. Dan Allard took the win on Friday in the Little Dog Shootout for semi-pro over Eric Monahan. And there was a 3:30 shootout Thursday night. Brock Godmare got the win in there. So that was a cool deal. Friday rolled around, Landon Urslack with the win. Semi-pro, I believe. I don't want to say it now because I'm going to get it wrong. Where it is. Yeah, Stephen Valentine. No, that was Saturday. Where is it? There we have Dominic Germain with the win on Friday. Julia Malcolm on Friday in junior. Stephen Valentine got the win. Parker Sagan got the win in junior dragster. Myself, fortunate enough to get the 10K victory Saturday. Almost backed it up on Sunday. Was in the finals, lost to Jake Hodge. There in a good race, tight.
And then Dan Allard in foot brake on Sunday? And
Yes, Dan Lard doubled up the
I think
weekend.
Parker Sagan also doubled up on junior.
Yes,
Saturday, Sunday.
absolutely. I did have the Saturday Sunday race. I was still scrolling through my other notes trying to find out. Yes, absolutely. Parker Sagan doubles up Saturday, Sunday, and junior. Julia was the finalist on Friday, won Friday, runner-up Saturday. Yeah, so great weekend for everybody who was going deep and making some big moves all weekend. So cool deal, a lot of fun. We had a great time. The Felix Valaby took down the golf cart race Friday
Friday
night.
night, yep.
So that was a cool deal. We were not a part of that. I was waiting for Rachel to arrive at the racetrack. She came Friday with Mike after work. So we weren't a part of that deal, but we hung out and had a lot of fun. Steak dinner was great Saturday night for the party and everything like that. So yeah, I don't know. If you don't go to the bracket, you have to experience it at least once.
It was awesome experience for the 3 years that we went to it, and truly recommend. If you haven't been, it is worth the trip. Out there, awesome racing, and on this side of the border, can't go wrong with that.
Yeah. No, absolutely. You can't. It's ridiculous tight, great stuff, and just a blast, right? Lustville every weekend's a lot of fun. So,
fair enough,
Andrew. So now let's dive into some Mid-Michigan stuff.
Yeah. So
you did talk a little bit about Empire, but there really wasn't much to talk
No,
about
unfortunately,
Empire.
the weather got us. We were down, so we did a week-long leave racecation, I guess what I've dubbed it over the last couple of years. We've used the racecation motto. We went to Luskville for the 2 events and went to Empire. They had their large Mayhem event, which was nitro cars. A lot of stuff booked in. Unfortunately, the weather got the better of us. Can-Am stock, super stock got a couple rounds in. The bracket side got 1 round in, and then Mother Nature took over, and from there it was just a lot of rain and a lot of hiding from the rain. And Sunday was the same. So from there, we finished the vacation side of it, and we ended up at the first time to Mid-Michigan Motorplex. Took the long way around the lake. My second trip around the lake in 3 weeks, as we did Dragway 42 and Milan 2 weeks before that, and just decided to drive Lake Erie, Lake Ontario, because why not? We'll exit in New York and come back in Michigan. But the OG World Super Pro Challenge, what a great event. Just great facility, older facility. You're out in the middle of nowhere. A lot of an old school feel to it with just a great track. Surface is awesome. The family runs it. The Ledfords, like they're racers. One of the sons is a world champion. I believe it's the WDRA, if it's not the IHRA. I can't remember which one it was, but yeah. So world champion there, long time racing family. Like they get it. They had over 300 cars Thursday. I think there was 317, 320 Friday, 340 for the OG 50 on the Saturday. Time trial each day, buybacks each day, and we were drinking wobbly pops by 10:30, 11 p.m. Each day. It was awesome. Wet rounds, tough competition. The No Box crew, very good there. They had a 32 car. I think on the Friday, the final 6 door cars, 4 of them were going off the bottom and didn't come out of the bottom bulb side. That was another car. So really hard racing there. East-west track. So at around 4 or 5 o'clock, you've got to have the sunshade on. Otherwise, one lane goes bad and then the sun sets a little more. The other lane goes bad and then the sun goes down and then you're back to killing it if you're not blind by the sun at that point. Thank God for a little bit of smoke. I would like to thank the Western Prairies, as much as this forest fires aren't a funny thing. That little bit of haze in the sky on Thursday and Saturday, made it a little bit easier, at least from 4 to 7 o'clock to see the tree. But highlight, got down to 9 cars in the 50 before I managed to muck it up and turn it 1 red. If you think you need to put 3 thou back in the box, put the 3 thou back in. You can be 17 and lose, or you can be 1 and lose, 1 red and lose. Easier to be 17 and lose because at least it's at the other end of the track when it happens. But you know what? Great event, a lot of fun. Had a fun split discussion without getting into details. It was certainly entertaining. Tyler Bohannon ran the table. It was actually an amazing weekend to watch that individual. If you don't know him, he's part of the TB Promotions crew. Won Thursday, runner-up Saturday, won Thursday, runner-up Friday, 1 Saturday. Had 2 entries in at 9. I think it might have been the round of 9. He lost one, didn't seem to matter. He just carried the other one through to the final. Wins the final against Rick Atkinson, who was the gentleman who took me out. He's the one with the stretched mini. If you haven't seen this thing yet, go find some pictures of the Bulldogs car. Hell of a super gas car too, or super rod if you're an IHRA racer. But it was a fun week. Wet rounds every day. It was competitive. Just it is. The little numbers don't always fall on your side, and you're in the stands drinking Modelo's, which is not an endorsement of the drink, but it was what I was drinking. So
Yeah, just
is what it is.
right?
Right?
It's all part of it. It is a great event. It's a lot of fun to go to. Track's awesome. People are awesome. It was a lot of fun when we got to go. I can't wait to go back on the next leap year.
Yeah.
That's the plan. We'll make it back there when it's not on a Brack Bonanza
That
weekend.
is the only foible of the whole plan, the whole fold of everything, right? So, yeah.
I did not watch any of it, and then I heard you were down to 9, turned it on as we were putting Alex to bed, watched you turn it 1 red, and I turned it back off.
Fair.
So I think it might be my fault that you did lose, but that's it wasn't on purpose. It wasn't personal.
It's all good. I'm going to own it completely on my own end after looking at the delay box for about what felt like an eternity, probably about 30 seconds. Looking at the number and going, you've been red on this number, not in a day or so, but you've been red on this number, and I was red twice on that number. So that's all good, buddy. That's all good. But other Canadians there, Will Steckley went down, I think, to 7 the night before, hitting the top ball in his Charger. Will's had a lot of success at Mid-Michigan this year. He's had 2 finals there in no box. Mike Newman was there. Mike went deep a few times, I believe. Trying to think round 6, round 7. Trying to think who else might have gone around. There was a good contingent of Canadians. I think overall we had about 21 entries from Canada, at least that I counted. Canadian Clan showed up with a lot of Canadian events going on. There was also Grand Bend's national event this past weekend, so they had a large race going on there, WDRA Rod Trophies, which we'll get to in the next show. We'll do a full highlight on some of that because there were some cool stories that came out of that one. But for tonight, we should probably move on because we've got an NHRA budding star waiting to talk to us about her experiences here and give us a little more info on Top Alcohol Dragster, or A Fuel Dragster? Not double A, because double A is supercharged.
So without further ado, we will welcome McKenna Bold to the BracketLife Broadcast. McKenna, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Great to have you on. Awesome stuff. We've talked about this for a little bit when you started the Top Alcohol stuff. It was only a matter of time before we were, I don't want to say, I'm not saying forced in a bad way, but kind of forced to do this, right? Whenever we have Canadians do have big wins or big events and things like that, then we try to always bring them on, right? So you had your first big win in Norwalk, right? What was that? That's about 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, into June there. So coming up on, I think, 4 weeks or so now.
Yeah. So first big win there. We're like, yeah, we got to have McKenna on. Rachel and I talked about it. And then, Rachel tells me whatever Sunday, oh, well, McKenna just won again. Like, well, I guess we got to have her on the show this week then, right? So dive right over that. So great to have you here. Great to talk about all this stuff. Awesome to see what you're doing and then finding success so quick in your Top Alcohol career. So it's really neat. Obviously, you've got a great selection of a team and a race car to sit in for that stuff, which helps. But that race car doesn't get down the racetrack itself, So it's really cool to watch. So before we do get too deep into the Top Alcohol stuff and everything that we're doing right at the moment, I want to introduce you to kind of everybody else who might not have heard of McKenna Bold yet, kind of on this side of the country. Obviously, the western part of Canada, pretty familiar with who McKenna Bold is. But so McKenna, how did you get into drag racing and what kind of bring us to this point in your racing life?
Yeah, so I really grew up at the track. My dad started racing in the 80s, so I was always there. Was sitting in my first junior dragsters when I was a toddler. So wanted to get into one of those as soon as I could. I was probably 4 or 5 years old, annoying my parents every day asking when I could race. And unfortunately for them, it was still a few years away. But ran juniors up until I was 17. was able to pick up quite a few wins in that, win a divisional championship, points championship, go to Memphis World Finals, obviously make a lot of great friendships along the way. And then in 2017, when I was all done with juniors, my dad had sold his door car, and we bought a top dragster from, the Ringus. So it was the car Dwayne drove. And then I ran that up until, still kind of run it a little bit right now when I can. I think I've made 2 passes in it this year. But yeah, so ran that for quite a while with the Top Eliminator Club. We have our Heavy Metal Mayhem 8th Mile Series, Cash is King. So I've picked up, I think, 3 runner-ups in those point series. And just I had a lot of success doing that. Really love the big dollar bracket race stuff. Picked up 3 or 4 Wallies in it. But always knew I wanted to get into a nitro car. I was wanting to do it before I even got into a top dragster. So that kind of brings us up to today, kind of the Spark Notes version of it.
I hear you. Absolutely. It goes fast, right? How it all comes together, but cool deal, right? I talked to Travis a little bit yesterday, and that's what he was saying, that you have one of their old cars and had ran it for a while, had great luck in there and doing all that stuff. So cool deal now. So what was the process of going from juniors, not very long ago, right, to top alcohol dragster?
Yeah, so actually it was before I even got my top dragster license. I was 16 or 17, started talking to Megan because I knew that was a step I wanted to take at some point. She did provide me some guidance with that. Obviously need to get some seat time in top dragster, and they also had full season drivers signed for quite a while with Megan, Rachel, Julie, Hunter. So then last year I knew, Julie and Hunter were going to be moving on. So figured, that was my chance to really go at it there. So started messaging Megan again in the summer and was able to get it organized to get my license in November in Vegas on the Monday. It was a bit of a grind on the Monday because they finished the national event on Monday. And then for your license upgrade, you need to make 3 passes. So we actually had like a couple hours to do that. I think I was on my 3rd pass. I was the last car down the track, and it was dropping cylinders, and I barely made the cutoff to get a pass fast enough on the 3rd one. But we did it nonetheless. Got my license upgrade. And yes, that was the process of getting into that car and doing that. And luckily, I was able to complete it in the 3 passes. I know there are a lot of people who don't, so I was very lucky that I was able to jump into it and do it.
Yeah, that's a cool deal. I'm sure it's a lot to just show up, right? And then you're kind of uncomfortable with it. I'm sure this is like at this point in time, you're not the most comfortable around all these new people, right? And then jumping in a car you haven't sat in or drove down the racetrack before. So to do it, and then with all the other chaos going on, right? It's not just relaxed. Oh yeah, take your time, do this, this is business. You got to get this done, right? So then, I'm sure that the stakes are high in a certain sense, and could be stressful a little bit, but good for you for powering through that.
Yeah, it was definitely a now or never for sure. Because if it doesn't happen in Vegas that day, who knows when I get the upgrade, if I'm even running it this year, right? So it was definitely a now or never situation.
Yeah. So take me through November to the start of your season. So what's that kind of look like for you to organize all this stuff and get in that race car for the full 2025 year?
Like I said, I got my license on the Monday in Vegas, and obviously had my sights set on one of those seats. I knew there was 2 open. Obviously, my teammate Matt Cummins also got brought on from the McPhillips team. So I think it was around December. I think it was around actually at PRI where Randy called me. We were really able to discuss this and kind of get offered that seat with them. So it was kind of like maybe a month and a half from when I got my license, and then was able, we kind of went through the schedule, picked nationals, a regional. And then at that point, I only had 3 passes in a nitro car. So they did preseason testing in Bradenton in February. And so I went down with them for that. And that's kind of where the season really heated up and took off from that point onwards.
Nice.
That's cool.
So when you were looking at the schedule, sorry, I was just looking at here because I pulled up what you hit so far. So Pomona, that was really the debut, I guess, right?
Yes.
Look at the point schedule here, which is quite the debut, right? Like the first place you're going to is the Winter Nationals, right?
Yeah, it wasn't supposed to be that way. I was supposed to run a regional before that, but I had an injury I sustained after testing. And yeah, Randy normally doesn't actually like to bring new drivers to a national event. Luckily, I had grade points from Top Dragster, so I was able to register. And he just, he had trusted me, right? He saw just kind of how dedicated I was. And obviously we had the testing a while before that. So that's not something he normally does. So thankfully he made the exception for me on that one.
It was a good opening race weekend for you, right? Like, I mean, things went very smooth, right? Put some points on the board, and really kicked things off. So, being that wasn't supposed to be start, how did that change? When you're talking about building your schedule and going that way, how does that change up? How did that change the original plan, or was it just really a one race swap out for you?
Yeah, just kind of a swap out. It didn't really affect anything else other than just kind of getting my introduction into that on the national stage, which was honestly really cool. With that being a West Coast race, there's tons of people from Edmonton there. So I felt right at home. It was a really fun weekend and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's typically the weekend that you see a lot of the I was going to say Albertans, but British Columbia as well. I'm gonna get hate mail on this one if I'm not careful, right? But yeah, like that's typically the home event, or the starting event, right? Where we'll see the Gator Nationals on this coast. If you see East Coasters, which I'm lumping all of us into from here, the Maritimes, head south, right? And that's where we start our season off. But so you do get a bit of a home feel to it, which is a really cool deal. From that angle, where I was going to kind of go with this was just you've kind of talked to Randy, you've got a game plan in. I know Pomona does its own swap out for you to get in, but it's an interesting thing, and we kind of talked about it a little bit before the show, and maybe this is a good little start to tangent into just how this all comes together for you. Mm-hmm. You're one of 2 or 3 drivers for the team. I wasn't quite sure. Maybe that's a good place to go. Is how does this dynamic work when you're talking about this? Okay, there's a seat available, and you mentioned it before where there was a plethora of drivers signed for many years. Mm-hmm. How does this kind of work when you're looking at saying Randy Meyer's Racing versus a team similar, multiple drivers, multiple events, multiple regionals to follow, not divisionals, as we talked about before. Got my education real quick on that one, re-education. How does that conversation go down to be able to figure that all out?
Yeah, so for at least our team in particular, running 2 cars, we have 2 full-time drivers. So that's me and Matt Cummings. So we're the ones, doing the nationals, essentially racing for the world championship. Megan and Rachel drove this year too on the IHRA side. And then kind of each of us. So Matt, for example, he's running the North Central region and I'm running the Central region. So you don't put, we're not putting 2 drivers, fighting each other in the same region. You'll see us sometimes tag teaming a regional race, like last weekend at Summit Motorsports Park. That's an out of region race, race for me. So you'll see that a little bit, but then, some regions where if, maybe I'm not racing it because it's not in my schedule, there'll be other drivers who jump in, like earlier in the year at Indy, that's not a race in my region. That's when Gary Pritchett jumped in, right? So you see a little bit of that happening. But in terms of the full year, it's the 2 full-time drivers with me and Matt, and we'll be at all the nationals together for the most part. Really just the odd one because you can only kind of claim a certain amount of nationals, and same with the regional races. So there's all those differences as well. But that's kind of a gist of how it works for our team.
Yeah. And so right now, and this, I don't want to jump around a little bit too much, right? But as we look into this, right? So Matt Cummings and yourself, you're sitting 2nd and 4th in the world right now, right? And
yeah.
Again, little early, but at the same token, there's a strategy to the claiming series, right? And I'll touch on the events because I really would love to hear about your Norwalk experiences because they've certainly been more than amazing based on the results that have put up, and they've put you in the position to be 4th in the world. Right now, you've got 2 cars competing for world title. Does that mean that the formula right now for the events you're looking to go to is starting to change, or is it pretty scheduled in that like this is what we're doing?
Yeah, it's pretty scheduled. Forward. Yeah, like I've known my full schedule like since January or February. Aside from like I had 1 or 2 races get added just for the claiming side of things. Because essentially how it works in our class is like, so we'll run 16 races. We'll do 10 nationals and 6 regionals. And so for your nationals, it's 4 of your best regionals and 6 of your best nationals. And then for the regional championship, you have to run a minimum of 3 in your home region, and then you can claim two out of region for your best 5. And then you can run up to 7 before you just stop claiming points at them. Where you have to put the waiver in saying I'm not claiming points at this race. So that's kind of the layout. So having 2 cars, obviously a lot of strategy that goes into the schedule. So we're pretty set in stone with the schedule.
Okay, so as you move forward here, particularly as the results have found their way so successfully for yourself recently, it's not changing anything as you do that. And so maybe this is a good time. We'll jump back a little bit, because this is where I've been following. We've certainly had a lot more alcohol racers, both funny car and dragster Canadians involved in it. And, we watch guys like Stan Sipos in Top Alcohol Funny Car, right, who's had some success, wins an IHRA event, has done well in NHRA. Yourself, right, in the Top Alcohol Dragster. Take us to Norwalk National event. That first real run down Norwalk. It's a track that out east here is a real mecca to a lot of the class racers, a lot of racers in general. But it's a bit of a holy grail type track to us, right, on the same scale as Indy in some respects. What an amazing weekend, both for yourself and Canada in general, because that final round was an all-Canadian final. But maybe walk us through that weekend and just how that unfolded, because that was an amazing thing to watch.
Yeah, so, kind of came into Norwalk looking for a little bit of revenge after, the regional in Texas didn't go well for us. It was a tough weekend, just, shook the tires, so that didn't go good. So I was really looking for some revenge in Norwalk. And I knew going into Norwalk that we were probably going to have a pretty good showing, because Randy knows how to tune those cars in the heat. I may, being from the north, kind of almost die at those tracks when it's that hot, but I know for the car it's good. Randy knows how to tune that car. So I went in with my hopes really high. I was really confident heading into it. And I think as you get more seat time in those cars, just the procedure and how everything flows, it just starts to, it flows and it goes, it's almost like slow motion at times. So we went in, and Q1, we went straight to the top. So that was pretty cool. Went to the number 1 spot. Round Q2, I wasn't low ET of that round. My teammate was. I think that put him into the number 2 qualifier spot. And then round 3, I got bumped, or Q3, I got bumped out of the number 1 spot. And so I'm the last pair down the track, and I reclaim it with a 5:18. I was the fastest of that round by almost a 10th. So
wild numbers, because that was a hot weekend. I was just down the road in Dragway 42, and we got the weather from you guys, and it just was unreal hot, humid. So to see the numbers that were laid down were incredible for the conditions.
Yeah, exactly. And Q2, I'll be honest, I that was the closest I've probably ever been to heat stroke. Just late, a bit, those afternoon runs. I was not doing well after that, but power through. I think my teammate came. My crew story comes to the top end. I think I was kneeled by the car, just drenching a bottle of water on myself. Was not doing well. And then we ran Q3, which was just such a badass pass, right? Just I looked at the time slip and I'm like, that can't be right. Just seeing how fast it was. And we really never looked back. We were low of the round every single lap except for that Q2. Round 1, I will say, sometimes it's just your day. I shit the bed in round 1 a bit. A couple things went a little wrong in the car for me. We changed a bit in the cockpit with my steering wheel. So that was definitely a bit of a lucky one for me. Thank you, Randy.
Right?
Thank you. Shout out to Randy for giving me a fast car, because that was just a disaster. But still ran low ET of that. And then round 2, I had to go back in and bounce back, right? I've really prided myself this season on just being good on the tree. I never want to leave second. I've been pretty good at that, especially, these nitro cars, we leave from an idle, right? So you can kind of be at a disadvantage with that when it comes to racing a blower car. So when I'm racing one of those guys, I'm like, nah, I'm going to beat you off the line. So I was able to do that the rest of the day and just, cut fast, consistent lights. So round 2, same deal, had a good light, A to B run, low ET of the round. Round 3, raced Jamie Noonan. We were identical on the tree, 054. another solid A to B pass, low ET of the round, and it was a close race. I think I ran a 28, and he was a third. Like it was a pretty close race. I can't remember the exact numbers. And then going into the final, racing Sean Cowie, my car. Between the semifinals and the finals, we actually did a full service, full rebuild. Because when the car's going that fast, you don't really want to touch anything, to be honest. So I'm looking at that and I'm like, please just get this back together perfectly. So did turn it down a little bit just because everything was so new and fresh on that one. So went into the final against Cowie, which I mean is really cool. An all Canadian final, and also if you look at the qualifying sheet, 1, 2, and 3 qualifiers were all Canadians. So it's just like pretty much like a Canadian domination that weekend. And so went into the finals racing him. And it was a good final round. I left on him. I think I was 45 and he was 100. And I really never looked back. And then just the feeling of winning something like that, I was very blessed in Top Dragster to, walk with some big checks and wallies. And I don't think I ever even as much fist bump going, right? Like at most, I'm a very like smiley, happy person, but I've never felt an emotion dump like that before, right? Like you see the Fox camera coming over, people are running over. It's just the emotional dump because, you have to qualify for the fields. And it's so hard to win at that level. Because it's not just all
to get there.
Yeah. Right? It's not just all on the driver to win those races, right? Like the car has to be there. The driver has to be there. It's such a team effort compared to what I was used to in the Top Dragster. So just, to get that win, I don't think that's a feeling I'll ever be able to top. Maybe winning a world championship might, and then 2 of my best friends also flew down for that race. So just really cool to share that with them. And then also, to share it with a fellow Canadian in the final. And then our good friends, like the Bartone team, they also won funny car. So, sharing the winner's circle with them was also really cool. Belmer's a pretty awesome guy. He's given me a lot of words of advice throughout the season. So it's pretty cool to share all that. And then just kind of like, I guess for me, fangirl moments still kind of happen. Like I remember like before the race, I'm seeing memories on Facebook and it's, pictures of me at like Jack Beckman's pit from 8 years ago, getting a picture, Cruz Petragon, all those guys. And then you win a race like that and they're coming up to you to congratulate you. And, Tony Stewart's pretty close with our team. So, I got a picture with him, just all these drivers that I still look up to, but, 8 years ago,
part of this fraternity to a bit now.
Yeah.
Right?
I was getting pictures with them. Right. And now they're, cheering you on. They're congratulating you. They're
coming to get pictures with you.
No, God, I wouldn't go that far. Right. But it was like a very, I really had to reflect on it after. It was just be like, man, this is pretty special and pretty cool. So just an amazing weekend for sure. So, and you get like the ice cream scoop and like you were saying, it's that track, it's called America's Racetrack for a reason, right? They are so patriotic. They pack those stands and just, it's such a great place. Bill Bader Jr. and his whole family obviously I won, so I'm undefeated there. So it's my favorite racetrack, but even if I wasn't, it would still be one of my favorite racetracks. So just a great national event, right? I'm still beaming over. Flying to Norwalk last week, I was watching videos and all my GoPro footage, right? Just kind of reliving it, getting all dialed in for the next one.
And that worked fantastic. So we can skip to the next one just because realistically on the points list, that's the next race that gets you into this world conversation and gets you, because we claimed it as out of divisional race, right? So
yes,
regionally, right? This is going to help you points wise. Let's move forward to that because that was the Night Under Fire event as well. So
yes,
it's a regional points race for the top alcohol cars, while being one of the biggest single night spectacles in the world in drag racing, which is its own different type of national event. And if anyone's ever been to one, you certainly know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, we're about to hear about what that's all like when you still have a points championship on. So we move ahead. Now we're into the regional, divisional type term here. But again, a huge show with a lot of big names and a full crowd, right?
Exactly. So you go into a race like that, and actually before kind of the show starts, all of the, I guess, the pro category show drivers, so you got us, Pro Stock, Top Fuel, Funny Car, the kind of people who are running in the show. We have a big meeting in the media center with Bill Bader, and he's talking about how this is their Broadway performance. We are not here to chase points. We are here as entertainers, la da 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 da. And then all us alcohol drivers are kind of just looking at each other because it's like, this is still business for us, right? Like, this is still a points race. And, Randy even mentioned it at kind of our team meeting before that, right? This is a huge race and we need to have fun. There's obligations for us here, but, we still need to be on our game, pay attention, and be there for the points, right? So it's definitely a unique thing, but it's pretty wild racing in front of 40,000 people like that. I was hearing some things, it might've been closer to 50. I'm not entirely sure, but with it being a regional, it's only a 2-day event. Friday, Saturday. So Friday, it's not as busy, but we did get 2 qualifying runs in, and that we had a really hairy start. Or at least I did. I shook the tires on both runs pretty bad. And you shook bad when you get out of the car at the top end and stuff's broken from the shaking. So Q1, it was bad. I think I ran like a 10-second pass. It was pretty brutal. And then go back for Q2, same thing happens. And I did pedal it, get down the track around like a 540. In retrospect, probably shouldn't have pedaled it because it was only Q2 and we were already in the field. But yeah, so did that. So just not a great start to it for me. Completely different conditions that weekend though, right? It was a lot. It was like 23 degrees, 25 degrees that day. Whereas before, we were in the 40s, right? So completely different. Full trust in my team though, for that next day going into Q3. Because heading into Q3, Matt was qualified 1, I was 8. So we were against each other on the ladder, and that's the last thing you want. So luckily, Q3 made it down the track. And it's funny because in the driver's seat, you get past the point where the tires are going to smoke. And it's kind of like that next couple hundred feet, especially after Q1 and Q2, where you're kind of just waiting for it to happen. And then it doesn't. Knew I made a good pass. So that put me into the number 3 spot. And I felt really good in the driver's seat. I think Friday, my lights were better than 40. And then I was pretty consistent. Like I was saying, like bracket racer style consistency. Like I had like a 005 spread or something. So went into round 1, got the win there. And then for that race, they do a big parade down the track where the stands are full right before kind of the first pro show. And it's really cool. So we had to go for an autograph session from 4:30 to 5:30, so kind of right after our round 1. So then when we get back from that, we did our warm up for round 2, and then you essentially go for this big parade, and they introduce all the drivers. Really cool. Well, we do the warm up, and there's a problem with my car. I had like 70 pounds of oil pressure, and when I'm idling like that, it should be 120, 140. Kind of depends on the idle, obviously. So they start tearing the whole car apart. So I missed that parade, and I was kind of, if there was a camera watching you would just see me pacing back and forth for because it's one of those things like when you're going to run pretty soon, and you're like, man, oh boy. And then they found they did find the problem, got the car put back together, warmed it up, all was good. So I was really anxious for a little bit, but it also just shows how much trust I have in my guys and my team, because once the car was good to go, I had no issues rolling into round 2, and got the win on that one against Melanie Johnson. So that was a really good run. I carried the wheels pretty far and high on that pass. That was pretty cool seeing people send me pictures. So I had to add a bit more weight to the front end at that point, because especially when you're hitting the
unintentional addition to the show. But
yeah, and it's because you don't really want to be carrying the wheels that high and that far. When you're hitting the 8th mile and you're still a foot in the sky, not really what you want to see. So got a little bit of weight in the car and went up for the final round. Got to race Angel Sampé, so all female final at that race is pretty cool. And that's the first pass I've made at night. So, kind of making that turn into the staging lanes and just seeing not a single seat open in the stands, and then seeing not even standing room. Like they're packed in, they're 5 deep at the fence. So that was so cool. Obviously got the win on that one. And then there was a bit of downtime just from an oil down, but then what they do is they get everyone turned around and you kind of do a parade back down the track, all the winners. And then they open the gates for all the fans to come out. So you're down there, and I don't even know how long I was down there, right? Like you have a line, and you're just signing autographs. You have kids taking pictures with the Wally. It was one of the coolest experiences I've ever had, right? Because those people love drag racing, you know, and I was signing just the wildest things. Like I signed my first pair of Crocs, which was really cool. You know, because people don't have anything. Your hero cards aren't down there, so they're just running up to you with random stuff. So it was really cool. And it's a race I never want to miss. It's a race you want to go to. And I remember getting told before the event I'd probably get carpal tunnel just from like signing so much, and that wasn't wrong. You know, it's just so fun. They're so patriotic and just a great track and a great event.
Yeah, and that is, you know, from two standpoints. Like I've only ever been to one of those type of events, and just an unreal show by the crowd or by the staff and debaters. But like to add the racing element to it, because back to I've had the privilege of speaking to a few people who've been paid to go there, and like they really do reiterate, this is our Broadway show. You said it so eloquently. That is what this is. But add the race in, and it's more than just the Broadway show, right? Where it's a Broadway show for an Academy Award here, right? Like it's a one-time only,
exactly.
You know,
it's even little things where for our class, like we have to weigh and do fuel checks, right? So they're trying to do this parade, but we're having to coordinate. Okay, it's still a points race for us, so we have a fuel check to do and weigh. And then I guess one other thing I do need to mention too about that race that, you know, kind of took it from being this special to this special is. It was a debut weekend for my new primary sponsor for the rest of the year. So I had Kayla Menzel with Diezel Excavating come on board. So huge there. Just, you know, to get support like that, especially from someone back home, has been amazing. But what made it even better, just bringing a Wally home on a debut weekend, you know, the logo on the cart really pops. My teammate actually was behind me at one point. He's like, it looks like it's glowing. Like it's so sick. So really awesome. Just kind of what a way to top it off. Just, you know, getting a win on a debut weekend like that with his company on the car was pretty special for all of us.
You can't write that type of stuff any better, right? For
exactly,
a show. It just wrote itself out perfectly. So that's amazing. And you know, as you go back to the performance side of things, these are all big things. Angèle Sampé is actually one of the competitors in your region, right? So she's the one you're chasing regionally. Big win in that regard. I mean, and she is a well-versed driver, right? And maybe that's something we're going to go with this, right? Like, how cool is it to see someone like that who is a professional? She's a world champion, right? Pro stock bike, but like this is, you know, she's running in the alcohol ranks, and I mean, I'm working off the presumptions that there's a fuel ride maybe in her future for this, but you know, like how cool is that interaction to be able to run with someone who's got
so cool, you know,
walls of Wallies, right?
So it was actually really cool because back in the days, like of the PlayStation 2, there was a game called Countdown of the Championships, and I would play her a lot, you know, and I'm like 6 years old in this. And then after that final round, you know, she came to the top end to get me, and we went and watched the fireworks, you know, so just a very cool moment, and just, you know, being able to compete against someone like her who has so many world championships and just so much, you know, I have so much respect for her, right? I was sitting with her and Jay Coughlin at the autograph signing, right? So it's so cool just sitting between people like that who've had such a great career, and you know, you can kind of just talk to them about anything, and they're, you know, very social and personable people. So it's a really cool experience, and you know, she's a great driver. She has so much experience, and is also just like a super nice girl too. So it was really special to bring an all-female final to that for sure. Because, you know, at the end of the day, girl power, right? So
fair. Someone with a daughter, and Brandon will say the same thing, right? With the little daughter at home there, like it's really cool to see that type of stuff and be able to, you know, show these, you know, the results of yourself and Angèle, but you know. That, you know, it doesn't matter, right? And you've got the ability to win all this type of stuff and have someone that they can, you know, role model after in a world that realistically, right? We've had great female drivers for years and super competitive. So awesome. We watched a little bit of the Night Under Fire on the whatever amount of internet we could get, like the results, I should say, when we were in Michigan. Evidently, it was a bit of a black hole there, but you know, I was pointing at my daughter. I'm like, hey, like it's, you know, all female final in this, right? And you know, in between Minecraft, we had a little bit of interest, but it was awesome nonetheless. So, but Brandon, you want to jump in with anything else on this? Because I realized I dominated the last little bit here, and I apologize. I fanboyed on this Top Alcohol fuel stuff so much, right? And it's just such a cool class, and McKenna's done such a great job with it. So I'm yeah.
Absolutely, you're all good. That was how it was supposed to play out, right? You got into you're heavy into all that other stuff, and then it was great conversation. I do have the countdown to the championship game for PlayStation 2. It is in my motorhome. I keep my PlayStation in there all the time, so we got a rain day or something like that. That's what I play. I dislike playing pro stock bike just because that's not my thing. When I do race it, I race with Angel as well. That's who you got to pick. Right? Well, if you want to win, you got to pick Angel. So, absolutely. So it's funny when you brought that up, right? Because I'm like, I got that. It's right. It's there.
Exactly,
it's in my
right?
home.
It's such a classic.
I have to go find this now. I have the same one somewhere too. I've forgotten all about it. It's likely buried in my basement from the move from my original farm to this farm. But yeah, like now that we've all got this out there, I had some sick Top Fuel tune-ups too. Like I was rolling with some of those. Pro stock I had trouble with, but I had Fuel Dragster down. But we'll we'll figure that out.
It was good. It's a cool deal. I love what you're doing. I love the stuff. Obviously, Norwalk is I don't know how else to say it, right? Norwalk's just second to none, right? And like people are like, okay, well, it's cool. It's gonna be this, it's gonna be that. No, you don't get it until you go, right? Until you race Norwalk, and you know, I've been fortunate enough. I've raced it twice. When was I went for the triple tens a few years ago, however long ago, and then I raced the Halloween Classic there. Classic is wild, right? It was like 1,100 cars on the property for that, just for like the $5,000 on Saturday. So
yeah, that's a good way to put it too. Like, you don't know until you race it or go.
You have no idea, and everything that the baiters do is top notch, right? You know, when we do like the Halloween Classic, and he has a costume contest, and the whole stage is set up, and he's dressed up, and he's got everything going on. I've seen the videos get posted before of his pre-race meetings for the show. So, and I've watched that whole deal kind of go down, and how serious they take it, right? All about the fans, and sat in on some Bill Bader seminars as well when I've been at PRI in the years past. So I don't know, guys, unbelievable the things that they pull off, and it's a really cool deal. So that's wicked. What's the next race for you, McKenna? When are you back?
Yeah, so I fly to Brainerd on Thursday morning for the regional. And then I'm off until Indy. Won't be running the Brainerd National. Just I have another. I'm just a bridesmaid in a wedding, so I was kind of one of the ones I decided just not to race.
Unbelievable.
I know, right? I had people tell me, they're like, "Tell your friend to get married in Brainerd." I'm like, "Yeah, I'll see if that flies."
I was going to say just don't get married in racing season was what I was going to say, but married in Brainerd.
I would suggest the reception in the zoo at Brainerd would be probably better than anything they could put together, but it's second to last.
I really did try to be convincing on this matter, but and of course it's like the weekend at Brainerd, right? Like when we're supposed to be at the zoo having fun, but no, there'll be plenty of time to make it there, and then after that, my next one will be Indy, and it's a very backloaded season, so God, I had to make an Excel spreadsheet just for like flights and hotels to keep track of stuff because I basically go every weekend until Pomona. I think I have like the last weekend of September off and one weekend in October, something like that. So I run the rest of the national events aside from Brainerd, and then we go to Reading for a regional, and then one other one too. So it's a very, very busy back half of the season for sure.
What are you most excited for that? Like obviously Indy's going to be
wild,
I've
never been to Indy. It's going to be like you said, wild, right? I think they say they get like 900 cars on property, and like you run the race on a Monday too. So that'll be wild to experience. I'm planning to fly, or I'm currently booked to fly in a day early just because I want to kind of see around there because kind of the capital of racing, right? Yeah. So it'd be pretty cool to check out. I'm excited to go back to Charlotte because I did lose in the final quad there. They did make it 4 wide again. But it's just a really nice track, very gorgeous facility, and kind of similar to Norwalk, just the fans really show up there. So that was super fun as well. And then obviously going back to the West Coast towards the end of the year. with Vegas and Pomona will be fun. And then also Texas, try and win a cowboy hat. That looks pretty sick too. And I, cheer, and, the Jags All-Stars happen that weekend too. So that'll be a really fun weekend as well.
Yes, absolutely. Good call on the Jags All-Star qualifier. Side note, as you reminded me, Charlie Knopick, Super Gas qualifier this weekend for the Jags All-Stars. So, McKenna, I know you probably don't know who Charlie is. Big Super Gas guy around here. One of the dudes I kind of look up to for the 90 racing. So, yeah, Charlie qualified. So, he'll be there hanging
There
around
will
with
be
you.
one other Canadian at the very least in Dallas looking for a cowboy hat too.
At the least. Absolutely. So that'd be sweet. So what's the plan for this? Like, what's the next few years? Do you have, like, I don't know how much you guys have this all sorted out. You don't need to tell me anything,
Right.
really. Well, like, what's the plan for the next few years? Like, where are we going to see McKenna Bold in next year? 5 years, 10 years? Like, where do you want to go?
Obviously there's not a whole lot I can really say right now. The goal is to win a world championship though. Bring one back to Alberta. That's my goal. I got it, and that's kind of why I got in and just wanted to go full time right away because, you guys are everyone listening here is a racer. You know how important seat time is, and how crucial it is. Just the repetition and just making the laps, and so that was kind of my goal behind that. So just that world championship that's something I'm looking for, and I'm going to be hunting it down for as long as it takes, basically. So can't say a whole lot until announcements come out at some point. But the goal is a world championship, and that's always been the goal from the start. Right?
Well, why not? Right?
Exactly. And I mean, when you're with Randy Meyer Racing too, that's kind of the precedent, right? You don't get in one of those cars to, just play around and come in 15th in the standings, right? You get into one of those cars to win.
Yeah. And the pedigree they've had for championships is second to none. So it's certainly got everything. Yeah, like the basis that they got rolling on, the amount of championships they've built, really, right? With the combinations, there's been a few different clips I've seen that I believe the Myers Racing's put out about the different combinations, even of the nitro motors and the size of the motors and everything else. Like the stuff that they got to go, I can't believe how adept they are. You look at it, well, that's a team that is trying to figure it out. And you've certainly put together a fantastic run with back-to-back wins to propel yourself into the conversation, right? Particularly with the fact that you're not, no one's claimed out, but you're certainly on the lower end of the claim scale based on the racers that you're currently sitting with, right? Meaning a heck of a lot of moves can be made in a very short period of time with some good results. And I would anticipate at this point that that's on the docket to happen because
that's the goal,
the team
right?
has done well.
And especially going into it just with such great momentum. I'm really confident behind the wheel right now, and I'm really confident in my team. I have been since day one, but just you start to, everything just starts to flow so well, so I think, confidence is huge. And just keeping that going is really the goal there. And, my dad's always said it too. I'm a back half of the season kind of performer. So even when I won Norwalk, my dad was like, I'm about on schedule for that one. So I think there was 1 year, or maybe two, where I've won a race earlier in the season. Like there's years where I've won the championship or, come second. And it's like, I'll be like so low down and then I'm a back half kind of performer. So hoping to keep that streak going at least. Cause then that would mean I'd, maybe get some more Wallies that, towards the end of the year, or at least make some moves. So that's definitely the goal heading into it. And I know I have a great team behind me. That'll give me the best chance to do it for sure.
No doubt at all. That'd be exciting to watch for sure.
Yes, I got the points up right now. Currently, 99 points. No, 89. Whatever it is. I don't know how many. 109 points, I believe, behind Sean Cowie. You're 2 races less than Sean. So, yeah, lots of room still left. So, it'll be exciting. I have no idea how all the points work. I know we talked about it a little bit. I'm just going to watch and see when the numbers keep stacking up, right?
Yes, and, I also recently learned the points thing. I was having to Google it and annoy people. Like, how does this work? How does any of this happen? But yeah, I know I'm a couple races down from the people ahead of me. So, that's not a bad position to be in. So,
no.
Absolutely.
fantastic spot, right?
To still be fourth, right? To be fourth in the world right now at this point of the year with so much more to claim. So it should be awesome. It's gonna be exciting to watch. We will be paying attention for sure. Uh, Good luck to
Yes.
you for the
Thank
whole
you.
year, right? I hope you can. It'd be wild, right? Go down there, take the whole thing down your first year, right? Who cares?
I mean, yeah, that'd be
Right?
awesome, right? We'll see how the rest of the year goes, though. That'd be pretty
That's it.
sick, though, right? One and done, but well, not done, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That'd be awesome. McKenna, I will get ready. We're at the time now. I will get ready to let you go. Before we do, give you some time. Thank who you want to thank, whoever you want to mention, or all the people that help you get to this point and help you do this stuff, and will help you for the next 2, 3, 4 months of this busy racing season.
Well, I know I already did a pretty good plug earlier in the episode, but Kayla Menzel with Diezel Excavating, obviously my primary sponsor for the rest of the year. So the biggest shout out possible to him, giving me the support to be able to race for a world championship and do this. Team sponsors that we have who help the entire team week in and week out. We got Maxima Racing Oils, Gunk, NGK, CP Carrillo. I've had Simpson Race Products on board with me for a really long time, so huge shout out to them. And then my mom and dad, they get to as many races as they can. Obviously got me into racing, got me into the top dragster. So huge props to them. And then just all my friends. And that's, friends from home here. They support me really great and, make me feel pretty awesome. And then my racing family too. Basically my top eliminator family. The amount of love I felt from all of them is it's been pretty amazing. I've had to kind of take a moment to reflect on it. So I really appreciate all of them and kind of just the community that's been built at Rad Torque Raceway with everyone. So yeah, it's been a journey, but I have so much support behind me, and I couldn't be more grateful for it.
That's awesome. I love it. I love to see it. I love all the different posts they all make. When you do have a great weekend or when you do make a post, I see all that stuff, right? Fortunate to have a lot of racers from Rad on my Facebook as friends, and then cool to personally know a bunch of them too. So I see all that stuff, see all the love and support they give you, and really cool that so many people are getting behind everything that you're doing. So got a huge cheering section loaded up, not just from Rad Torque, but from coast to coast, and everybody here in Canada checking it out. So we appreciate you taking the time to come and hang out with Andrew and myself tonight for a little bit. Good luck in everything moving forward, right? We hope you keep wearing them out, not just in Ohio, but everywhere. Andrew likes to stick to strictly Ohio recently, but
I was in Michigan twice in the last 2 weeks. Like, let's not, I passed through New York, whatever, right? So.
But yeah, awesome for you. Love to see what you're doing. Love that you're just grabbing it by the horns and doing it.
Thank you.
Right? We're not waiting now. We're not giving it time and putting it off. Let's just get after it.
Thank you.
Let's go.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate all the well wishes, and I appreciate you guys having me on. I listen to the show pretty regularly, so it's pretty cool to jump on here with you boys. So I really appreciate it.
That's cool. We appreciate that. I will let you go, but we'll talk soon. If we do get a world championship out of you, then we'll have to be back on.
Hey, that sounds like a great plan.
Pre-Vegas. I want to talk again pre-Vegas, right? Because that'll be where it's all at. And then we can talk about the championship. We'll do this twice more this year.
Okay.
Pre-championship, as we get to that run, and then championship. All right?
Hey, yeah, let's do it. Let's hope it all works out that way. Hey, that'd be pretty sick.
It would be cool. All right, McKenna, thank you very much. Have a great night. We will talk to you soon then, based on what you're saying. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Bye.
Bye.
You got to do the pre-Vegas run. That's the run to the title, right? I figure that's got to be.
You're right. Because that'd be it's the national divisional, then Pomona.
National divisional week off Pomona. Yep. Yeah. So maybe the week in between, if McKenna's available, that would be.
We'll see.
We'll see what's up. That would be.
That'd be cool.
That's when all the championships get made. Yeah.
I'm
not sure what the saying is.
Absolutely. I did get as we talked earlier, I did get a confirmation. There is one more Down East National Open, Cape Breton doubleheader Labor Day weekend. So yeah,
Okay.
so we got six more races for the National Open Points Championship.
Yep.
So it'll be cool. Anybody's race. Lots of people, with lots of chances to still go out there and do that. Turn some more win lights on.
It is
So
not too late
yeah,
to get in
I'm
that
excited.
race. Champion.
You're right. Absolutely. You can join now and still fill it up. So fill your points card. So
That's
lots of
shout out to
fun.
those.
Lots of NHRA talk.
I like it. It's been a lot of big money bracket racing talk went in. I mean, we've from a point standpoint, or even result standpoint, Aaron Steinke, national vet win. I can't remember where he won. Another, Albertan. I don't want to get this wrong because yes, okay. But seeing a lot of great Canadian results this year, particularly I won't say particularly, but NHRA side, there has been a ton of Canadians go down and doing really well, whether it's going rounds, whether it's putting stuff in the final round, whether it's winning championships and being in, all-star races and points world title conversations. So it's I think it's going to be an interesting fall as we watch the rest of all these points titles and chases coming down, because now that you got me thinking about all this, thinking about world title type stuff.
I'm sure there's a bunch more in
Aaron's
there. I did want to point out as
in the world.
Looking through. There you go. As I was just looking through here on the comments, we did get Dean Schwimler throwing one out there. Dean had a cool post earlier today talking about his naturally aspirated engine. I don't know what size it is. APD engine, I believe he said it was. Going 430s. I think it's flying.
698. I think he had earlier in the year in the quarter mile run on all motor, and it is.
I think it was a 685 this year.
The best so
this
far.
Weekend. When 685. Yeah, that's flying. Good for him. I love it. I can only wish to be flying. Well, we'll get there. I do have the means over there that I will.
I was going to suggest, I know there's the means to do it. It's just the means to put it all together to do it is. There's a lot of components to come together to make that happen, but nonetheless.
Yeah.
I'll
get there. All right, guys. That is it for episode, what is this, 87? Hopefully.
You guys start thinking about 100.
Getting up there.
Good Lord.
Yeah. It's going to be good. So that's about it. Great show. Awesome to have McKenna on. Really great talking to her. Cool stuff she's doing. I love it, right? Yeah. Just no messing around. She knew what she wanted right out of juniors, before she was out of juniors, right? Yeah. Starts messaging, oh yeah, let's go do this. And then
stuff
here we are, what is it? Would you say 2017 she got out of juniors? So, 8 years later.
She's in a competitive ride.
Now she's driving a top alcohol car, picking up national event victories. That's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
So great for her. Thank you all for watching. Thanks for hanging out. And I think can't remember if we're back on next week because we skipped last week.
Let's skip next week because I'll be on the road to a race in Columbus, and maybe do the week after where I will either be happy about what I did or we can lament over what I've done wrong again at 9 cars. If I'm lucky to get to 9. Is that fair?
That's good. I like that.
That's
fine with me. No problem.
We're setting us to be the goat or not.
Thank you all very much. Yeah. Thank you all very much for hanging out. We will talk to you all in 2 weeks then. And we'll celebrate Andrew or we will critique him. That's how it's going to go.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah. Exactly. All right, guys. Thank you all very much. We will talk to you in a couple weeks.
Bracket racing isn't just what we do. It's who we are. It's how we identify ourselves.
What does bracket racing mean to me? It's my life. It's where my people are. My idols, my family, my friends.
Bracket racing is life. Bracket life.